Now, as stated here, we are now going to look at something called work in progress. Listen to this. The production cost to be carried down to the trading account is the production cost of goods completed during the period. If items have not been completed, they cannot be sold. Therefore, they should not appear in the trading account. For example, if we have the following information, we can calculate the transfer to the trading account. And here is the information. Total production cost expended during the year, $5,000. Production cost last year on goods not completed last year but completed in this year, $300. And production cost this year on goods that were not completed by the year end, $440. Now, we're going to calculate the work in progress. The calculation is as follows. Total production cost expended this year, which is $5,000. Then you add the cost from the last year in respect of goods completed in this year, and this one is $300 in this case. If it said yes, so you add the cost from last year in respect of this year, then you would less the cost in this year for the goods completed next year. So therefore, the cost that is not completed for this year is less, and the cost that was not completed for last year is added. Simple as that. So therefore, the cost from last year in respect of goods completed in this year, to add that, and the cost in this year for goods to be completed next year is less. And you get the figure of 4,860, which we would call production cost expended on goods completed this year. Let me give you it, friends, in the real sense. Friends, what is it called? Oh, write it me. Production cost expended on goods completed this year. So that's it, friends, as it relates to calculating work in progress. So here you have it. Pause the video, write this down. And so we calculate work in progress. Pause the video, write this down. Solution, calculation, and the detailed information. That's how we calculate work in progress, friends. Now friends, we're going to look at another work example. Here, the following information is available for the business of T. Hawkins. On the 1st of January 1, 2007, stock of raw materials $800. 31st of December 2007, stock of raw materials $1,050. 1st of January 2007, work in progress $350. 31st of December 2007, work in progress $420. Pay to December 31, 2007, direct. So you have a direct pay of $3,960 and indirect pay of $2,550. Next, purchase of raw materials $8,700. Fuel and power $990. Direct expenses $140. Lubricants $140. Carriage involved and raw materials $200. Rent of factory $720. Depreciation of factory plant and machinery $20. Internal transport expenses $180. Insurance of factory buildings and plant $150. And general factory expenses $330. Ask you, pause the video, write down information as you get it. Write it down, pause the video, write it down, write it down. Then after you have written it down, follow us as we go through the solution, my friends. Alright, first thing you do in the solution is write the person's name, was T. Hawkins. Then the title is manufacturing account for the year ended December 31, 2007. Alright, first thing is first, as you know before, you place your stock of raw materials first. It is the opening stock of raw materials, which is the 1st of the 1st, 2007, $800. Then we add the call purchases. Purchases of raw materials, which is 8,700. You see that? Purchases of raw materials, 8,700. Then we add carriage inwards, which comes from up here as well. Carriage inwards and raw materials, $200. When you add up everything, you get 9,700. Then you list stock of raw materials. This is which we describe as before as the closing stock of raw materials. You list that, and you list that, you get a figure of 8,650, which is called cost of raw materials consumed. So if you are asked to calculate the cost of raw materials consumed, this is how you do it, friends, and you get that. Alright, next we have something called pay to December 31, 2007, and they have a thing here called direct. This is called direct pay. So we would say direct pay of 3,960. Then direct, these are no, what do we call, what do you call them again? Call them, they are part of the what? The prime cost, direct pay. Then we look forward for, so we have direct expenses right here. So direct expenses we take from here and place it right here. 140. When you add up everything, you come back to the prime cost. What you can do, my friend, you see, you can, let me give you a scenario. You can identify these things as to what is to go into before prime costs, what should go under factory overheads, and what should go under admin, under other things. So therefore we have our prime cost now, right? Yes, we do. Now we want to pick up our factory overheads. First one is fuel and power, which is $900. This one is indirect pay. First we have direct, now we have indirect pay, 2,550. And lubricants, $300. Rent, $720. Depreciation of plant and machinery, $420. General transport expenses, $180. Insurance, $150. And general factory expenses, $330. You add everything, you get what they call factory overhead expenses. Now to calculate production, you call production cost 1. So you add everything, normally it should give you our production cost, right? It should be a production cost under normal circumstances, but this is not a normal circumstance because we have what? We have this and this work in progress. No, to you, what would we do in this case? Which one would we add? Would we add this or would we add that? Alright, let's find out. Right here, we would add the what? This work in progress from the one cost from last year in respect of goods completed this year. So this is the 1st of the 1st, 2007, 350. You add that and you list the one for this year for goods to be completed next year, which is the 420. So now we will be given our production cost of goods completed. So therefore, friends, this is how we drop the production cost of goods come. So this is a manufacturing account. This figure, friends, will be transferred to the trading and profit and loss account. We'll do that later on in this video presentation.